Nityashuddha Vimuktoham Nirakaroham Avyaya Bhumananda Swarupoham Ahameva Ahamoyaya Ahameva Ahamoyaya. This again is from the famous, I've been telling this for the last 2 classes. Forgot the name suddenly. What is that?
Shankaras?
Yeah, it is the Shankara's some mala. What is that mala? I forgot. So, very nice slokam. Nityaha, I am eternal. Vimuktaha, Nitya Shuddha. Shuddha is pure, purity itself. I am Vimuktaha, ever liberated. Nirakaroham Avyayaha, I am formless. And because of I am formless, I am indestructible and changeless. Bhumananda Swarupoham. Bhumananda means I am nature of infinite bliss. Ahameva aham avyaya. I am the very self, indestructible and changeless. That theme of indestructible and changeless runs through the whole poem. Very nice. Brahmajnana Valimala is the name. And it is actually the song by the person who has already realized and he is just reveling in that ananda, in that bliss. That kind of song it is. There's some 20 or 21 shlokas. I've just told 2 or 3 in the class, or 3 or 4 in the class. So I have another 18 weeks to go. One by one we'll take.
Beautiful, beautiful. It is such a good solace even to know that this song is our true self.
Self-nature.
It is our true self. It is about us. Even to know, even if you are deluded, even if you are drunk in this samsara and you are dreaming, but if someone is saying to you these words, it is so beautiful, that at least even if you're lost in the maze of the mind, but you're still, some part of you is still awake, and that indestructible and all pervading and pure, untainted and pure bliss. Now, if you just take this bliss into consideration, that will take you back home. You can never touch your own self in any way. It is not an object. It is not a thing. It is nothing to acquire. It is nothing to gain. It is nothing to possess. But this thing, bliss, can take you there. How? Whatever we think what we are right now, we know that it is not bliss, because we get into this roller coaster of joy and sorrow and other attributes of mind like negativity, anxiety or depression or aggression or selfishness or greediness or whatever you call. And all these, which are attributes of the mind, keeps us into sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy on this roller coaster. More you contemplate yourself as this formless awareness, uninvolved with all the activities of the mind, in dream and in waking, and you keep contemplating on it all the time, with all those times inclusive where you are not contemplating or you are lost, but you are trying honestly all the time to disentangle yourself from this solid, which looks real, which has a form, to that formless awareness by paying attention to things but not getting involved. One thing is for sure, that this bliss will start unfolding from within. A joy will keep getting more and more. Irritation will leave you. Aggression or whatever you were known by the people around you, that you were angry or you were greedy or whatever your attributes from that mind were projecting externally, will start fading away slowly and slowly. Another thing which is a sign that this ego is melting away and this pure self has taken over or taking over is that resistance for things. Um, Anyone says anything, anyone plans exactly opposite to what you have planned, or anything which is an obstacle in what you intended and it's not happening, is it creating a resistance in your flow of life, or it doesn't matter? If it doesn't matter, that means you are almost established in that pure self. I was talking to David on Thursday. We had a beautiful couple of hours of satsang, like meeting, or you can call it satsang, because there was nothing else to talk, I believe. And David was giving this example, which is also very beautiful, that like a river. But if you see river does not fight with rocks or boulders, or it takes its turn in the way, whatever. But eventually it reaches the goal, isn't it? Because you see, as pure awareness, life brings in its own way obstacles, boulders, then looks like there is a diversion and we have to flow this way or that way. But you just witness, don't be rigid about anything. Some people on path of religion becomes very staunch and religious and become more concrete, and sometimes not very happy person also, or maybe always trying to prove their point. Self is something which does not say anything to anyone for any reason. It is. And when you are in witnessing this, you become least resistance. Path of least resistance is this path of self. Or you can say it's like total acceptance. So you might have met people, or even yourself, you might have seen that some people argue for nothing. Some argue if it is a big issue, and some never argue. Some just accept things as they are. I'll tell you, I saw a lady. She came to see me from a city which is a bit far from where I work, Geelong, which is a bit of a drive. Like from my place, it's like a couple of hours. And she was missed because there were so many patients, and she was waiting to see me for half an hour. And then they acknowledged that she was there. So I apologized to her that She has waited to see me. She has no aggression or uneasiness or restlessness. And she said, no, that's all good, no issues. So much serene, so much calmness. Some people are so divine. And what is this that? And some people can be very edgy. um, they will get irritated by anything. This irritation has to go. This irritation only comes from ego. When we think we are something, more we think we are something, more we get irritated. More we think we are an authority, more we get irritated. More we believe on our titles, more we get irritated. Sometimes we are good to hide that irritation. Other times it just blows out of proportion. Mostly we can hide in front of strangers for short duration. But in front of family members, people you take it as granted, it comes out. So our real face is known by the people who have to deal with us all the time, like family members. They still know our real face. But a seeker start knowing it's his or her real face as he moves into this pure self, witnessing all the activities of mind, how it deal in the world, what it does. So everything becomes so transparent in witness mode. And that leads to fall of the ego. That leads fall of this I thought, which claims to be owner of the body and mind. And you recede into this formless awareness. And you feel contented. You feel peace. You are blessed by this witnessing mode, and you feel this bliss. More you go here, more you feel bliss. More you go there, you have nothing to prove to anyone for any reason, not even yourself. It reflects from your actions. It reflects in everything. Even if it does not reflect, you don't care. You feel so contented. That's all this pure self gives us. Gives us our real nature back, which was stolen away by the mind. The story in which we believed and we were getting joy out of it by achievements of the body mind or sorrow, this all just disappears. It's not that there's no memory left, but that memory of all the events has no significance. You don't start your story meeting someone that this is what I have done, or this people have done, and this I have gone through. And in Hindi we say Rona Dhona. You start talking about yourself, just melts away. Because you have found the real jewel and you know how happy you are. You can't even explain anyone that bliss. So all what the sorrow, that story of the body mind has given you, or all the achievements which the body mind story has given you, has no meaning left. Maybe for others. Maybe others might still write your biography, or they might talk about you in a good way or a bad way. but for you, it has no meaning. And another very good thing happens is because it has no meaning for your own story, you have no meaning for others' stories also. Where that person comes from, what he does, what he is not doing, it doesn't matter. Then only thing which gives you joy is if the other is also established in that self, or is trying to establish in that self, or at least interested in that self. That gives you joy, because then you can have some conversation at that level, because that gossip mind is gone. If you meet a person A for any reason, you cannot step down from that pure consciousness. And if the other person is not ready to step up, how can there be conversation? He will feel bored, he will run away from you, because you would be quiet, or there's no gossip. You will be a bore person for. But if he is ready to meet you at the level of consciousness, then whether you talk or you don't talk, you both will have a good time. This is that pure self. And beauty of this pure self is it stays the same till last breath in this body, you can say, because it is the only way it is communicating through the body, through a form, in silence or with words. But it has no interest to converse in any other way. So you might have seen that anyone established in self, whether coming from religious background or spiritual background or atheist, somehow that language changes. And even if someone is not using the term like God, but the talk is all about that pure awareness, pure self. One, depending on their background, can relate. Yes, Elaine?
Yes. There was something I'd like to share, and it's along the same lines as what you're talking about that magic of stillness. And today, Teo and I went to the Archibald exhibition, which is the portrait exhibition in Sydney. And I was walking around all the paintings, and there were some landscapes there as well. And there was one quite extraordinary Aboriginal piece of work, which was based on yams and the land and the country. It was quite abstract with little tiny dots. But the energy field of the actual painting was quite extraordinary. So when you walked past it, it was like, like you could actually feel it. I could feel the magnetic frequency of the painting, and certainly of the person who painted it. So you had a sense of every single dot was made by somebody who was completely present within that stillness and within that sense of self. It was, I kept coming back to it, I was drawn to it a little bit like a magnet, and I felt such joy. I can't tell you the feeling. It was such a a rare thing to come across. And there were many people there, and there are a lot of fairly amazing paintings, but nothing quite like this painting for me anyhow. It was quite a special moment to witness that and to feel the energy in the atmosphere somehow radiating this message of oneness and connection with land was a very beautiful thing. So it reminds me a little bit of what you're saying.
Yeah. They say this about everything, even an object can have that power. Is this painting is done, maybe let's say a sculpture made by a sculpturist in that divine awareness or in that love, and you see it and it speaks in that silence. And same with any structure, maybe a piece of furniture might be like that. And even the place where someone has visited or a sage has lived, or that gives so much of peace. Even the intention of people who visit there, whether it's a temple, church, or whatever it is, synagogue, you go there, and if all people go with their pure intentions, that place has that vibration. So yes, and so we are all that vibration, and when we go within and we connect with our own pure vibration, we start reflecting that, and we become the powerhouse of that. So and living, when a painting can be so powerful, then definitely human beings who are carrying that must be radiating that energy or that vibration all the time. And who will catch it? Another thing, this is also an important thing. You should have that transmitter receiver. You should have to tune your frequency into that. So Elaine, what your experience is, it might not be the experience of everyone who is passing through there. Yes, many others, but not everyone. And so it is what you are seeking for. This is what the seeker is. Seeker is seeking for that self, and it can, like, it becomes so tuned to it in everything. He starts understanding sacredness of that. If you look into different aspects of life which are very sacred in India, you can say among Hindus, they have actually who has touched their own self, and they found so much of that living consciousness in some plants, like, there's a Indian basil, tulsi. You go near the plant, you feel so much of power, so much of energy. It is full of that energy. I make morning that herbal tea, and I put some tulsi leaves in morning, and I go to take those leaves, taking permission. And you go there, it's like it's just embracing you with its fragrance, and it's a big bush, and it's so powerful. Every morning I meet that consciousness.
Even animals.
Yeah, so there are things, and cow, the cow is again an animal which, if you see,
Yeah.
she has so much of you can see in the eyes of cow, how pure it is, and how it. So there are definitely, if plant has, if painting has, why can't we have? And it's all within us. So staying in that stillness starts emanating from it. We just need an interest in it. That's all. Interest in it does everything for us. Nothing else needs to be done for it. All the techniques and the ways and all that all comes naturally to that body mind, the way it has to. It can understand that. no one has to understand those complexities of Upanishads or those intricate methods. Maybe if you are made up like that, your structure, you will be attracted and that will work for you. Or maybe for a simple person, some simple other thing can work for them. But for each to his own, there would be something which will work for you to make you establish in a very unique way into that self. You just have to start on this journey by your interest. And that grace which inculcates interest in you, make sure that it will find a way for you to be there. That's all. And we call this satsang, and some people can think, what is the point of meeting together to talk about that self? But it is very powerful. And I'll tell you, satsangs were done in ancient times also, so much so that, and they were doing it and we are doing it. There's no difference. It is just a different time but it was always the case. They call it by different names in different parts of the world. But this is what it is. You talk about it and it starts blossoming in you. This is what it is. You call by any name or no name, doesn't matter. And you call it by any name. But if you are interested, it will manifest in that within you. I think Vanita, yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Sorry, I joined a bit late. Was occupied with my some.
Yeah, ask me what is it about?
Sir, actually, I don't know. I'm getting this calling, maybe hearing or seeing in some YouTube videos about Buddha spoke of Vipassana. Vipassana is a 10-day retreat. One goes a complete silence and meditation retreat. So, like as Ramana Bhagavan also spoke of silence, and I think I need to practice that more on me. So, sir, can you throw some light on this Vipassana? And it's a very ancient Buddha's technique of, they say, it's diving deep within, like Bhagavan also said, like keep still, and automatically silence is everything. Silence is truth, silence is peace, and all happiness. It's just hello. हम 1 मिनट एक सेशन में फिर देख के बात करते हैं. जस्ट एक सेशन में 2 मिनट.
Look, whatever your heart is taking you to, you can do what. I am not an expert. I have no clue. I have never attended Vipassana. So you ask the Vipassana people. You might find someone who knows about it. You read about it. You talk to them. But I don't think I have any clue. So if your heart is there, you go ahead with that.
So will it clash anyhow with this? Because I'm an ardent follower of Bhagavan, Sri Ramana. So
it is
will it clash?
You find your own way. You want to clash. You want to.
No, I don't want to. That is why I'm asking this question.
I have no clue. I can't answer.
Mixing, won't it cause a kind of mixing techniques? Like that is also meditation.
Look, sorry, I am not an expert.
Okay,
I told you very clearly, I have no clue about Vipassana. So sorry for that. You ask the people who teach it. You are interested in it. You go ahead. You explore. If you like it, do it. As I said to you, each can find their own technique and do it. So if that is your call and you said it is your divine call, to go ahead with that.
Yeah, I'm just getting that it may it appears, more self-control, more peace and
Okay, go ahead. Very good.
for maintaining silence, but 10 days complete silence, that is unnerving me. I don't know how I will go about it.
I think best to you talk to those people. They will help you.
Okay. I understand. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no clue. I haven't helped
No,
you at
sir.
all. I have no idea about it.
I'm also a little have doubt. I don't know whether I'll be going also because the assignments are also there.
Maybe if I can.
Yes, go ahead. Who is there? Amit? Yes, Amit.
Yeah, I to Vanita's question, I mean, Bhagavan said you don't need to go to a cave. Even if you're in a cave, your mind might still be wandering around, or you can be with the family. You can still have peace and happiness. So the location context is outside world is maybe not as relevant as what it is inside of you. Vipassana, I know somebody who's been, it wouldn't suit me personally, but it doesn't necessarily mean that context would give, assuming the final thing is to have peace of mind.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, I think that makes some sense.
So I have been on one of those 10-day Vipassana retreats, and it's very hard, very, very demanding, very worthwhile, but very demanding, and not easy for, because you are silent, you come in to touch with everything that's in the mind, and that can be quite challenging. But it's very structured, and you are looked after from that point of view. But there's, you're meditating, just sitting, meditating for many, many hours of the day. It requires a lot of tenacity. But I'm pleased I went.
Thanks. Yeah, maybe later I can think of.
Anyone has any questions?
Sorry, I don't want to disturb.
Anyone wants to say anything or talk about anything? I just want to say about this mind. It always jumps, even in spirituality, from one guru, one method, one technique. You're talking about non-duality, it is jumping to vipassana, it is asking questions completely different than what going on right now. This is what the mind is. You might be in this satsang, but your mind might take you at your work. It might take you to the next retreat. it might take you somewhere else, and then the whole exercise of a satsang or abiding in awareness becomes useless for you at that moment. And even recognition of this is so important, because then you understand that whatever you're doing with your mind as an action, as an intention, is actually keeping you away from that jewel what you are. Because mind always postpones it, which you can get right now. It is asking you to go on a 10-day vipassana to get that, which you can get this moment right now. That is what you are. But it wants to postpone it. And it also creates illusion that it will create with Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's teaching, and it will be a clash, and as if there is a fight going on. But actually, really, that is what the mind does. It creates all sorts of excuses not to imbibe the self which is there right now, but to postpone to some other time, which is just an illusion. I know people who very proudly says that I have been to Vipassana 30 times. And I feel what a fool this person is. He went 30 times, still he couldn't get anything. Because it becomes like a trip. Like you go to Paris, you go to New York, you go to Vipassana. Or you go to church, or you go to temple. Going doesn't make you anything. Only staying makes you something. You can be that without going anywhere. I'm not saying that one should not go, but if that is your call and that you have urge, and if you don't go, then you will be sitting in your home and you will be thinking that I should have gone to that retreat, or I should have done that. So better to do it and then understand, what things are. Sometimes the time it takes to know our own self takes so long, even 50, 60 years, maybe many births, just because of that also. That the mind wants to take a longer route. Because
Gita puts it nicely. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Not even a thought is coming. If a thought rises already and you have decided to do something, sarva arambha parityagi. I have given up even that thing to start. I have given up that also. That means you are just keeping quiet. Whatever you are going to do at Vipassana, you are doing it now itself.
What anything will teach you to shut up? Why can't we shut up now? Shut up this mind which is only thoughts, incessant thoughts, and we that ego gives importance to all the thoughts. If that continues, you can go anywhere. It is a non-ending thing. Because no guru, no teacher, no teaching, no method can stop your mind, your thoughts, unless you decide that I will ignore all thoughts and keep quiet. Don't think Bhagavan's, Ramana's devotee saying this will do the job. You still have to do your hard bit. You have to have lack of interest in your own thoughts. If you have interest in these thoughts, then nobody can stop. Nobody even knows what thoughts you are getting. Only you know it. And whatever thoughts you are getting, how much forceful those thoughts are keeping you in their grip, or if they are just fading away, you don't even acknowledge them. So many people get experience of that supreme bliss. I'm calling it experience because the after effect, when the mind re-emerges, for it was shanti, it was peace, and it just takes it as an experience. You know why? because one is his habit, and number two, when it puts you, that pure self, as an experience, it has taken away all that beauty from you, of your own self, and you are again slave of that mind. You listen to so many people, they always talk about an experience they had and it disappeared. Because you know what? The mind comes and it calls that thing which cannot be in the domain of experience as experience. It is not, you are not an experience. But the mind even takes you as an experience and you again get lost. Once you start receding, you will know that you are that. You are not an experience. But I was talking about some of the ways by which you will be more confirming in your own awareness that that's what it is. Because there is no other signpost, or it will not manifest in form of anything by which you can know. Because sometimes people have doubt even whether they are in right direction or whether they are moving inward or they are just outward. So they have no clue. And this gives you that. When the bliss dawns. Very simply, people who have more doubts, they are very much lost in the maze of mind. So much so that the doubts never ends. And they can never start their journey. And so that's why sometimes I feel that bhakti is so beautiful, because bhakti at least starts your journey in some way or the other. You start loving that teaching or God or a guru, and you start moving, you start surrendering that ego. So that devotion, that surrender. And books like Bhagavad Gita, people find it is, some people find it's a book of karma, nishkam karma. Some says it is a book of devotion, it's a bhakti book. If you see the ISKCON movement, or even the one I sent, the Mahatma Gandhi's letter to his son, he was talking about as if it is karma and it's about bhakti. And Advaitin will find it is pure Advaita in Bhagavad Gita. What a wondrous book written. You can find what you want out of it. So beautiful. And pick up what works for you. And if you have no clue, then look around, be free. Don't feel that if I do this, then this will get hurt. There is no Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi sitting as a god with a sword in his hand and he will kill you if you move away. There is no clash. So many people in his time came and they talked about things. They stayed with him for many years and then they took a path of yoga or something else, and he didn't stop anyone. Every mind is so different. Even if someone says you don't do it, it will still do. Like you don't want that mind to create suffering, but it's still causing suffering to you. If your mind is not listening to you, how can your mind will listen to me? Whatever advice I will give, it will still do what it has to do. Understand that you have to give away this relationship with your mind. That is the only way. There is no other way. Otherwise, teach your mind devotion, humbleness, humility. So it surrenders itself on the feet of pure self, then it will disappear. But whatever method you will use is the one which is most conducive to you. So if you have no clue which one is best, then keep exploring. Then you might find something. If your longing is intense, you will find the exact way by which it will work for you. Even in Bhagavan's time, there were so many people who came to him, but they could not grasp or understood what he was saying, and they moved on. It doesn't mean that they were lost. I believe they would have found something else to work out. And if you see, there are so many ways. So, and I believe all ways are to the same pure self. But yes, again, I would say there are some ways which stops much before that, before they reach self. If you believe in any external form, or whatever the mind creates and you think that is what it is. Even in Bhagavan's time, so many people came who had visions of God, like Papaji, and they thought that is the end of the game. Maybe you see God, that's all. And when he went to Bhagavan just discarded as just the mental imagination of no value. This is what you think. That becomes your own reality in that sense. If you are convinced that self is that, knowing that abiding in that self is the purpose of life, or that is the aim, and you think yes, and you work on it, then it becomes, then that's your reality, then that is what it is. But if you think that this word is real and this all has no meaning, then this is your reality. Then live in this reality. But whatever you believe in, then be contented with that. That's all. At least be happy with that. But for me, the only test of any path is at the end. Are you peaceful? Are you happy? Are you contented? Are you still looking for things? Do you still have doubts? If whatever path or way you have chosen and the result of that is absolute happiness, that perfect bliss which you have attained, that's all it is. Some people might think that you might get siddhis or powers. That's again, Bhagavan said very clearly, it's part of the illusion only. Like someone is a good engineer, or someone is a pilot, or someone is doing something, invention or discovery, that is also a power. That's a siddhi in a way. So everyone is being given some type of siddhi by the divine into the body. What is the purpose? You use it and it will finish. One day everything will be dust. But at level of the dust, before it turns dust, will you be dust or you will stay? That is the thing. Will you go with that dust again to become dust, or you will stay? Will you keep going in that train, or you will get down on this platform? If you understand that only that stillness can make you step out of it. And these bogies of mind continues and continues and continues. it would be really good if at the end of this life, of this body, if we go back home, then it's not a big deal. Then one day everyone, this body will left, and we will all be in that liberation. If it is true, then it would be. But we all have to earn our freedom. We all, without exception. Let's say even Bhagavan had a child. That child would have to earn his own freedom. We are all Bhagavan's child only, in a way. His grace, His blessings are there. His method is there. This is known as spoon feeding. We just have to just take it in. That's all. All what is needed is all there. That silence is there, that stillness is there, that self is there. The self is always there. But do you have time for this self? Can you stop everything for a second and listen to it? If you have time, then it is always there. It is waiting for you eternally. It is like the game in which that absolute is playing by giving that consciousness, that self, and this gadget called mind to every part of that consciousness, and seeing whether you get lost or you stay. So let's say everyone is lost. Some people have gone so far that to come back, they can't even think that there's anything to come back. And then some of them have something, they have not gone that far, or they have heard something, and that's why we call it grace, because otherwise how would you know? There are billions of people, whether they follow religion or not doesn't matter, but they think that is what it is. That is the life. They will be dead and that's gone, and then whatever it is, it is. Not even inquisitive about it. What do you think? God knows why it happens to some and not to others. But if it is happening to you, then better to finish off it. Actually, it is so beautiful that to be there, it is just sheer madness for itself.
It should be escapism also, like, if your present moment disturbed or something not so stable, so you want to escape certain tribulations, trials of life, and then it should not be that escapism to just sitting like
so you are telling all of us, or you are asking anything?
So, this is my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, for me only, like applying to me only.
This is all mind talk. Because mind will give thousands of excuses that you sit like this is escapism from all the turbulations of life. It will come in a very beautiful way. It will give you an explanation which looks like, yes,
Yeah.
this is wisdom. But that is the obstacle mind will create in form of these words. That is mind talk. It doesn't want you to sit. It will tell you that you are an escapist sitting like this. Go, act, do. You are a doer. You are an achiever. If you sit like this, things will not happen. This is
Yeah.
escapism. This is all mind talk. Mind will tell you all these things. It will not allow you to sit even for a fraction of a second to know what the pure self is. Understand how the mind self-sabotage. Because the moment you sit in that stillness, it is end of this game. It is end of the game of mind. But because we are in grip of mind, it will give all sorts of excuses to avoid silence at any cost. Because this silence exposes everything, exposes your mind, exposes the shallowness of this life. Understand this truth. It will give all sorts of excuses. Let's sit in silence and try to abide in that silence. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, everyone.
Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. Thank you.